Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Melanie. For those who are new here, welcome to Sessions with Namloash. And today I have a special guest who's gonna be guiding us around a rough topic, guys. If you know me, you know I am so scared of politics. And for the first time, I'm gonna have a subtle conversation around politics. So today we're gonna be talking about, what would you do if you got that political position as a young person? And as you can see, I have a guest here. His name is Victor, but I'll let him introduce himself some more just so that you can get to know him better. Karibu.
Asante, thank you. So she said my name is Victor. I'm a young person, as you can see. Victor Ongeto, that's my full name. I'm an IT director for a startup company, a telecommunications company. And to me, I do have an interest in politics because a lot of my friends tend to tell me I should be a politician or I do like politicking and I should try my hand at it. So this is actually an amazing opportunity for me to share my thoughts and exchange, also to kind of know what's happening around, because truth be told, the political temperatures out here are very hot, very high. So yeah, I think it's good if young people actually engage and try and discuss, not really try, but actually discuss some of the issues that we're facing, and in the process find solutions and implement them as young people. So thank you so much for having me here. I'm really honored.
You're most welcome. Thanks so much. I actually like something that you mentioned around, we actually need someone to voice out some of the things we go through, as young people. And to be honest, speaking of which, let's, kind of visualize something. Victor has just gotten this political position, and this is his chance to represent Akina Melanie, bring out all our concerns, see what you can do about it. So let's assume you've gotten this seat. Mm-hmm. How would you actually identify which issues you'd handle as the first order of business, now that you just got that seat?
I'd first of all start by learning, because there's a lot I don't know about the political space, about governance and all that, and also about the issues, because really from where I come from, I don't get to see all the issues from the majority's perspective. So for example, I cannot understand the problems of people who are living in rural areas, for example. So I think for me, just being able to learn, being able to interact with people, going out, really traveling, because these politicians are given those resources to really move around the country and interact with people. So I'd really take that and use it as an opportunity to really learn, see what's the most important issue to first of all tackle, if it's amongst the youth, if it's an economic problem, and so on and so forth. So yeah, for me that's why my voters would see me a lot for the first year, because I'll be moving around, not in the big cars per se, but yes, I will be moving around, talking to people, trying to understand. Okay, at this point, I might know why they voted for me. Mm-hmm. So I want to understand, now that you voted for me, what do you expect me to do for you? What do you want me to work on? And from that exercise, I'll be able to come up with I'm sure it's a long list of issues that I'll, start looking at. And also in the process, I think I'll be looking for strategic partners to actually work with, leaders in the community, guys in school, other young people, even guys who are older, who have experience, and we probably share the same sort of sentiments, or we have the same solutions or similar solutions to the issues. And yeah, that to me would be my best approach. That would be the best strategy for me.
Okay. I mean, I like that you've mentioned partnerships. It's pretty interesting, because most of the time when we think of politicians, we just assume that, they're working alone, making decisions on their own, like when there are no other people in that team. And I really like that you mentioned partnerships, because it brings me to my next topic around, of course, even as you're, learning and trying to understand what exactly people want, you to do as their leader, how would you actually get to choose the people who advise you? Because of course, you're not acting alone. You definitely need a team of advisors. So just take us through slowly what exactly you'd be looking for, or how you'd be able to choose some of the people who advise you.
All right. I'd be looking for competence. I'd be looking for people who really understand the problem domain or the domains, may it be economic, social, let's say policy, and so on and so forth. And I'd be really looking to understand um, why they're in that space to begin with. What problems are they solving at the moment, and what is their vision? Why would they want to be in that position? Say, I think I would surround myself with leaders. First of all, let me start by saying that, because I tend to find a lot of leaders, okay, good leaders, let me say good leaders, tend to have very pure visions for what they want the society and the community to be. And so being around leaders and being able to exchange ideas with them, exchange visions, and ultimately coming up with a shared vision um, will make my work easier, because I will not be working against, or rather, I will not be working on my own vision, but also, now being, let's say, the overall leader, if I can put it that way, or rather the political leader who can actually go and, change policy that will enable these other solutions to be implemented. It really would matter a lot to be able to have people who native, guys are thinking outside the box and are thinking for the common good, not just for their own selfish reasons. But that being said, I wouldn't mind partnering with a couple of, can I call them private business people or private investors? Because even these private companies do have very great visions for the country. Most of them are private, yes, they are for profit, but what is their underlying? The underlying purpose is really to do good and to change their society around them. So that is one. So competence, I'd be looking for competence. Second, I'd be looking for influence. Numbers muhimu sana.
Yeah.
I'd be looking for people who really have numbers behind them. People who are influential, people who are leaders who are chosen, not just because of the money they have or the families they come from and so on and so forth. Leaders who've been chosen by their peers, their friends, the community, to actually be at the front, to actually be the voice, what are they called? Spokesperson, yes. To be the spokespersons, yeah. What else? I was actually going somewhere with this. Just forgotten where I was going with it. But yeah, so the advices really would matter a lot, because if they really they don't understand what the problem is, first of all, they'll be just talking for the sake of talking. And everyone has an opinion, everyone has a suggestion, everyone has an idea on what should be done and what shouldn't be done. But when you surround yourself with people who have the experience, have the knowledge, and also have the competence, the willpower, and the desire to actually make the changes that are needed, then those would be the best people to have around me.
Okay. So I just want us to dive deeper into this whole conversation, because I really like what you're saying. And I can't help but think, do all politicians even take a minute to think of some of the things that you've actually mentioned? In our country, Kenya, we've kind of put politics somewhere on the side, because no one seems sure about what to do, and I'm liking what I'm hearing. So I just want you to, let's imagine you've been elected as, a politician, let's say in a role around something to do with the youth, So seeing that you're also part of the youth, some of the issues that, we're kind of facing, that we probably need voiced out to the public. And so speaking of that, what would you actually say you would do to work to achieve or to solve some of those problems that we have? Maybe we can start with, what are some of, let's say, 3 key things that you think the youth need voiced out? Let's start from there.
Okay, let's start from there. So three key things I think the youth want to get first. First of all, it's economic freedom. A lot of youth have ideas they want to implement, but they lack access to resources to actually do them. The factors of production, they don't have the land, they don't have the labor, they don't have the knowledge and the skill to actually implement on the ideas. So really, first of all, I think education is a big part of it. So first thing would be education, getting to educate the youth on how to go about starting businesses, how to go about acquiring the skills that you need, where to actually go acquire the skills. And then on top of that, giving them some incentives, some capital to actually get started off on what they're doing. I was just on Twitter a few minutes ago and I saw a very prominent politician just gave out wheelbarrows and stuff. I mean, that's great. That's great to do that. But are you giving these wheelbarrows to people who need them? You see, maybe these are people who need to go to school, and the only reason why they're appreciating the wheelbarrow is because that's the current work they're doing. That's the only thing that's putting food on their plate. So being able to educate the youth on matters to do with the economy, how to read how the economy, how is it doing? Are we doing good? Are we doing badly? I'm sure there's a lot of people who don't even know what GDP is. And so they get to hear that on the budget every year. And, they're young, they really don't understand all this. And I think that's why they put it on the side as well. That's why a lot of us, because I was one of them, kind of still one of the people who put politics on the side. It's because we really don't know. We don't have the information that we need to make decisions or to even have informed conversations around the subject. Other than that, I think that's why I said I had to go learn, because I really am not sure what the biggest problems are amongst the youth. If I can give one of my own, I would say it's access to legal aid, and legal information in general. A lot of people get arrested over nothing, and they end up being corrupt themselves because they have to bribe to get out, because they don't understand what the problem is and what the consequences would be once they get arrested and get charged in court. And so that is a big problem, by the way. A lot of Kenyans, especially the young guys, do not know what their rights are. I mean, I've been seeing memes going around where and it says something like, you tell a Kenyan cop that you know your rights, and they'll just be laughing as, they kick you into that vehicle. But I think it does pay to know your rights, because you will not only know how to use them, because I think there are people who abuse their rights as well, and that's why they end up getting arrested. So that to me would also be important. It still circles around education, just educating the youth. Also on civil education, educating the youth on, or rather informing the youth on why it's important to vote. I mean, that sounds cliche, but the importance of voting, the importance of participating in public discussions. If there's a baraza around you, as a young person, you should want to attend such. Just being actively involved. What is your civic duty as a youth? What should you do for your community, for your family, and for everyone else? I think that those are the three things for me that I think are important. That's civic education, the legal aspect, and generally just education on matters that are important.
I mean, I like those, especially the voting one. I wish more education would be done around voting. To be honest, because personally, at the moment right now, as a young person, I would only vote because my folks told me to vote, or people are voting. I really wouldn't even know who to vote for, because I'm not following politics. And as bad as it sounds, you really can't blame me, because I actually don't feel like enough is being done to actually show me why I should care and why I should actually eventually vote, which is, something pretty interesting. And speaking of which, you've really spoken about really nice things, and assuming that, you know, most of those things are short term, because of course you can't have the position forever. You know, that's one thing that most Kenyan politicians don't think about. But because you won't have this role forever, how will you, or how can you, you know, say that you'd actually make people still experience some of the things that you'll have implemented even when you're not on that seat? How can you make sure it's more long term?
For me personally, if I was the one actually doing this, I really would put a lot of focus on informing people, empowering people through information and education. Information is very valuable, and once you inform people on you know, you give them the right information, the facts, in the long term they'll be able to make better decisions, because they will not forget the training they had. They will not forget the reasons they know as to why they should, for example, vote, or really go and read out bills that are published on the Kenyan Gazette and something like that. You know, they need to, they will be informed. They'll be informed. And for me, that would be the long-term plan, to educate people, because in as much as, yes, actually, but I tend to blame the media to some extent for not really showing the importance of, you know, why we should keep our leaders accountable, or why we should be questioning them to what they're doing. Because you really read the headlines, and a majority of it is just, you know, the president did this, the vice did this, I don't know who else at the top did this, but they rarely cover things that are happening on the ground, especially the positive things that are happening on the ground. You know, it's always negative. This was stolen, this was taken from this one to see this one, and so on and so forth. But I think it would be very impactful if you actually highlight the great things that the elected leaders are doing, you know, in whatever part of the country they are, in whatever domain, however little it is. I think that will provoke people to select leaders such as those. Because look at it this way, yeah? Every single day you see corrupt leaders on the news, on the newspapers, and so on and so forth. In your head, you will tend to assume that every leader who vies is automatically corrupt, or will become corrupt as a result of being in that environment. And so what do? You even choose not to vote, because it's okay, you know, there's whoever wins, they're still gonna end up corrupt. But that is really not the case, because if you really look outside, the people who are doing amazing things in whatever domain they're in, even former holders of office are still continuing to do the same great things they were doing in office. And I think part of the reason why they're able to do that is because they put forward the importance of, you know, educating people on what's important. You know, I tend to believe, when you ask me the question if all politicians think this way, I think they do. I think a majority do. But once they get into the system, they kind of get sucked in. They get sucked into the politics. They forget about leadership, and they start focusing on the politics. But those who really stick to leadership, and leadership is all about performance. It's all about, you know, giving people the direction, telling them what we are doing, why we are doing it, and how we're going to do it. If any leader focuses on that, they will not only be able to, secure the seat for longer, because people will vote them in, people will like them, but they'll also be able to have a very long-term impact on the work they're doing. So yeah, I think for me, a lot of politicians, even aspiring ones, because I think that will be the kind of people listening to this. I don't expect my MP Babu to watch this, but I know a couple of people who have aspirations, and for me, I would actually like if people focused on leadership, the principles of leadership, and being able to, you know, tell people what's right, not to mislead them, and you know, when something goes wrong, be transparent, call it out, say this and that happened, this was stolen under my watch. You know, I hear people resign in other countries as a result of such things. In Kenya, it will be very hard for a politician, however strong their values are, to come out and speak against, you know, something that has happened in the office or in whatever council they were in. and really call out names and say, you know, so and so were involved. This is what happened. I chose not to intervene at that point, but I'm coming out publicly now to say that that was wrong and they should be held accountable. And me being a good citizen, having witnessed that, I first of all stepped down so that I can also pursue the justice for the people. You know, they take themselves out of that team of, you know, the animals and come back to the people and, you know, lead that charge and say, okay, I was in the office where corruption happened. You know, I'm out of that office now and I'm going back for them. You know, I think such a leader would even have an advantage in such a scenario because they already know the inner workings of that office. They know, you know, who to mess with, who not to mess with, who is connected to who, and so on and so forth.
I mean, I hope we get there as a country. And now that corruption has come up, you know, that is exactly where I want us to end this conversation. How, if, for example, if you were to be in a political position as Victor, what would you actually do, or how would you respond or react if someone actually approached you with a deal, you know, that was definitely corruption? You know, how would you react or respond?
Let me start with the reaction. The reaction would be, I would be surprised because I'd feel like I've betrayed myself and my people first of all, because I tend to think the corruption, if it's not in you, it's around you. So it either could have been my advisor. One of my advisors came to me with the deal and was like, hey, you know, Vic, there's this guy who wants to do ABCDE, and since this is part of our agenda, we can partner with him, get some funds from, you know, the reserve, and, you know, split the deal half-half. So for me, I'd be disappointed. That would be my reaction. I'd be disappointed. But my response would actually, as I just described earlier, you know, just being transparent. You know, my conscience wouldn't settle well when such thing happens. You know, personally, I'm trying to think of when times have been corrupt, because corruption, it doesn't start up there. And like I'd said earlier, you bribe one cop, you bribe 10 cops. It becomes a habit. When you get voted in, it's already a habit. So yeah, for me, just being open, being transparent, coming up and saying, you know, I don't. First of all, if this is on a personal level, if this is not already in the public, I would really speak against it to whoever brought it on me, and if they choose to, let's say, respond in a negative manner, which I think most deals end up that way. You know, you refuse to take a bribe or something, and the next day you're kicked out of office because you didn't listen to whoever was asking you to do whatever. But that to me will not bother me, because at the end of the day, we all tend to fight corruption together. And so if that means I lose my seat as a result, then so be it. If it means I lose friends as a result, let it be. But the people have to know. The people have to know that these are the people who approached me. This is what they wanted. And so even if they succeed, the people will know that, okay, this is the deal that, you know, Victor mentioned was going to be a corrupt deal. And I think if we all do this in whatever space we are in, probably at work, when, you know, someone approaches you and says, give me this job and, you know, I'll give you half my salary for the next 10 months, you know, like call out such a person, or if you witness that you're not the person involved and you see that happen, you know, even if it's going to mean you losing your job, this is going to be hard for people to do. But if it means losing your job, you know, call out the CEO, call out the applicant, and put them out in the open, you know, put them out in the open. And I believe if more and more people do that, then, you know, the corrupt dealings will come to light, and we'll really know the people who are behind the guys who are actually pulling the strings from above or below, whoever they are.
Definitely.
But yeah, corruption for me is unknown. I'm trying to think of a time I've been corrupt. Sijai bribe. Okay, wait, let me be honest. I think I've done once. I've done it once.
Shame on you.
Let me tell myself, in the spirit of being transparent, let me anika myself. Can I give a story?
Yes.
It was a very interesting story. So I just come out of school, and I was going to eat lunch. So I was driving around with my friends, and at that time I wasn't really conversant with Langata route.
Yeah.
So I was trying to enter some, I think it's a Shell petrol station, but ended up entering Wilson Airport. So that being the case, I had to go in, I had to pay parking and leave. But so when I got in and, I instructed the policeman at the gate that, hey, I'm lost. I was trying to go into this Shell, but, I've lost my way. How can I head out? He was like, no, it's okay. Just weka gari pale kando. So I put the car aside. He asked me for my driving license. That's where the problem started, because I didn't have my driving license. I hadn't carried it. I was like, I don't have my driving license on me right now. It happens that I left it at home. It was like, okay, what we can do then, we just have to validate that you have a valid license. I was like, okay, thank God, the NTSA, or I think it's eCitizen, has this way you can verify with SMS. So we did that. I validated. He was like, all right, it's cool. So go around and leave. So I was like, okay, I'll go around. So as I go around, I get to a junction where I wasn't sure which direction to, because they told me I first of all have to pay parking out for me to leave. So I saw the booth and I was like, okay, I let my friend alight, go pay the parking as I move forward. So as he was doing that, another cop showed up and he signaled me to put the car on the side. So I put the car on the side again, and he asks me, why are you obstructing traffic? And I'm like, I'm not obstructing traffic. First of all, there's no one behind me. Second of all, my friend has gone out to pay for parking. It was like, there's no paying of parking here. You know what? He asked me for my DL again. I'm like, okay, I don't have my DL, but I just explained this to the officer at the gate, and this is what we've done. So I was just heading out. I gave him the whole story. So he was like, no, weka gari kando. He even took the keys. He took the car keys, and he was like, no, you have to produce something. I'm to tuandike statement kwa station. So I'm like, okay, why are you messing around with my head like this?
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, so what do you want us to do? So he wanted, he was like, I want to see your DL, or, do something. He was just suggesting that, you can't leave here without sorting me first. I was like, okay. So I was there consulting with my friends, what do we do? We're hungry, we really want to go eat, we have class, this is wasting time. So anyway, he came back and was like, so mmeamua aje? I was like, si tumeamua tunataka kwenda, so I'm doing kitu hata ya chai. I was like, we have nothing really. We don't have anything in our pockets right now. You went to achilie tu tuende. I was like, no, shuka tuende. So I started working with him. He starts explaining stuff to me, telling me how, vijana wa Nairobi, meribika, you take your parents' cars, you don't even have licenses, you're out here crashing people, killing people. So in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, so what do you want me to do? I don't have my license.
Yeah.
I'm certainly not going to the police station to report something, because that's wasting my time. And I haven't done any offense. So anyway, long story short, I went back to the car. I told guys, you know what, let's just give this guy some 200 bob atuachilie maze, because clearly that's what he wants. So as we were consulting, he signaled me to move, like to now washa gari and go outside the gate. So as I was doing that, he came back to the window and he was like, like he was just, you can just see how someone body movement to suggest. He came to the window, put his hands like this. He was just like, you know what, just shika his stuff, si tumeenda maze. And yeah, he was like, what did he say? He said something. I remember he started complaining kidogo. Yeah, he was like, ebu ongeza. And I was like, I've just given you free money. Why are you asking for more?
Yeah.
Like a beggar, when you give a beggar, and a beggar is... Anyway, that is my story of my one and only corrupt case. I should go to court. Nafani nitafute umse by then. Okay, but anyway. It's behind me. It's behind me now.
I mean, it's interesting. And I mean, there's so many people who go through that, Personally, me, when police tell me, niwapatie chai, I act a fool. Like, I don't even understand what chai means, and I think they eventually get annoyed and leave me. And because they think I look blonde, they're like, okay, she genuinely doesn't understand what chai means, and they let me go. But, I'm really glad that you've even ended this on a high note by, giving us an example. In as much as someone might think it's a simple example of corruption, guys, that is where it starts. And to be honest, it's something that needs to stop. So I'm really grateful. Thank you so much, Victor, for being on the channel. You know, I can't wait to hear more of people's thoughts. You know, I'm even thinking this should be a whole segment of its own, just to get to hear what young people would do, you know, if they got that political position. So I'm so glad. Any parting shot you may have?
I think I would just encourage more people to have such conversations. Like you said, this ought to be a segment on its own, and I'm really looking forward to seeing more of this from you and also from other people who are really paying attention to what's happening in this country, because a lot of things are going wrong, and if you just sit back and relax and hope things to fix themselves, we're the biggest losers here. You know, like we're the generation that actually will lose the most if this country is to go down. So yeah, my parting shot would be, guys, let's stay alert, and yeah, let's engage in such conversations.
Fantastic. Guys, as you've heard, please engage. First rule of engagement, share this video. Share. Make sure all those politicians get it. All those aspiring politicians get this video, you know. This is the only way change is going to start. And Victor and I decided to be the start of the change. So
yes.
Let's keep doing that. So thanks for watching this video. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Leave your comments. In case you'd like to reach Victor for anything, I'm going to leave whatever he gives me in the description box. And so we'll see you during my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.